What is up, guys? Welcome back to the Zach and Pat Show. I'm Zach.
I'm Pat.
This is the show about manhood, fatherhood, entrepreneurship, and the mentality it takes to be successful at those things. And we'll probably sprinkle in some helpful real estate advice too, because that's what Pat and I do. You know, guys, life can be tough. We can go through some things and struggle at times, but this is the show to let you know that you're not alone. So if you're someone out there going through any of these things, this is the show for you. Shout out to our friends at NeuroGum for keeping us energized and focused. NeuroGum is a chewing gum, and they've got mints as well. It helps with energy and focus. It's got a little bit of caffeine, L-theanine, vitamins B6 and 12. Helps, like I said, with energy and focus. I really chew it all the time. Really, when I'm driving around showing houses, working, whenever I need a quick little pick-me-up, I'll chew it while I'm drilling in jiu-jitsu or during a CrossFit workout. Just kind of helps keep me going, especially, toward, later in the afternoons or whenever I don't want to grab another coffee or an energy drink because I don't want to be up all night. I'll just grab a piece of NeuroGum and chew it, and usually kind of gets me where I need to go. So get out there and try some NeuroGum.
Also, it is my great pleasure for the first time ever to announce the sponsoring of the Zach and Pat Show with my company and Gabe's company, Captain Beard Co. We are a men's grooming company. We have beard oils, we have face washes, we have balms, we have butters, we have body washes, and we have apparel on the way. Our goal here at Captain Beard Co. is to offer you products that not only we use ourselves, but as well, they are products that you can understand what's on the label. Minimal ingredients, made by hand right here in St. Louis, Missouri. If you're going to buy a product for your beard or for your facial hair, whatever the case may be, I don't know about you, but I hate looking at a label and not being able to understand or pronounce 90% of what is on it. You will not get that with us. We have amazing scents, we have an amazing brand, and we hope you'll give us a chance. So thank you, Captain Beard Co., for sponsoring the podcast.
This shit smells amazing.
And the fact that I get to walk around smelling like a backwood Russian cream, my hood rat ass really appreciates it.
Really good.
How's that for an ad read?
That's perfect,
that's
bro.
pretty good.
It's perfect. I love it. First one.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, exactly. Well, it's stuff that we all use and really enjoy. So, but now let's introduce our awesome guest today. He's a friend of mine, training partner of mine, one of my coaches.
Our coaches.
One of all of our coaches. Yeah, I'm sorry. He's a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt, an MMA fighter, Mr. Colonoscopy, the great and powerful Colin Parr.
Got to give Kyle props for that nickname. It's stuck.
Or Mr. What were we calling you? Down with the thickness for a while?
Down with the Thixon. Also, Thix and Gracie.
Thix and Gracie.
That was one. That was a good one. I believe that was Engelbart.
Well, because I mean, I guess that kind of came when you basically kind of not like, I don't want to say blew up, like, because you got really fat, but you put on like.
No, I blew up, dude. I mean, in a good way.
No, because you basically went from lightweight to welterweight, right? It was kind of like toward the end of your MMA career.
Yeah, because I started, it was just, dude, the weight cut. Because my weight, walking around weight has always been around 187, and then cutting to 155. Bro, it was it was awful. So then it was I was trying to put on weight because I was I need to go up to 170, and I got up to I was walking around a little bit 191, 192. So I just made 170 way easier. But even with that, the people were just bigger because they were cutting from
210.
Yeah, they were just big boys. So yeah, it was you always hear about MMA fighters talking about that 165 weight class everybody wants that.
Yeah,
it would have been perfect for me.
Yeah,
because it was either I kill myself and make 155,
but then you're depleted and drained, and
and I've had some bad weight cuts.
Yeah.
I think the most intense one was I went to Tulsa to fight for XFN.
Okay.
And it was on 3-week notice. So I had to cut 32 pounds in 3 weeks.
Holy shit.
I did it. I made weight, but it was awful. It was really bad.
Oh, God.
How do you do that?
So as soon as you get that, the first thing was I immediately am cutting my calories to 1,200 a day.
Gross.
And it's just chicken breast, broccoli, just
no carbs.
Barely any
limited fat too, because you're trying to get in a really huge caloric deficit. But then the bulk of it, I think I cut 21 pounds
water cut
in 2 days with water, just by water loading and doing all that. But the day before weigh-ins, I didn't sleep because I was just so
because you're so thirsty,
yeah. And it was, man, this was so embarrassing too. I'll go ahead and tell you, because I had to make the weight, right? I had to. I've never missed weight in my life. I never will. I hate it when people do that. So for this one, I was still kind of overweight, and I was like, dude, I got to do something. I can't. I was in the sauna. wasn't losing any weight. I just wasn't sweating anymore. You guys ever heard of magnesium citrate?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. All right. I drank a whole bottle of it.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. And then it didn't do anything. Well, I thought it didn't do anything because time passed and I couldn't sleep.
It turned
So
out
I was
it
like,
did do
dude, I
something.
can't. I have to get some sleep. So I took some some Benadryl or some sleeping pills. I fell asleep. I shit myself.
I'm
Bro.
using that for a piece of.
I woke up like it was really gross. I woke up in my feces and I was disgusted. I was disgusted for a second, and then I was happy because I was like, "Oh, I'm definitely on weight. I'm definitely on weight."
I can't believe this is your first podcast.
Yeah.
I gotta do some laundry, but boy, did I
But
make weight.
boy, am I okay.
I was so happy I hit weight, I shit myself.
Dude,
Oh,
it
man.
was. I would never. Yeah, it was bad. I would never recommend that. I was so depleted. I had to have my buddy Dan Essenprice.
Yeah.
He had to drive me to Tulsa. Because I just kept passing out, and then I started like an hour before the weigh-ins. Dude, my kidneys were killing me, and I was like, "This is not good."
Oh.
Yeah, I made weight, and then I refueled and felt even worse the next day, and then fought in a cage for 15 minutes. So yeah,
Did you win that fight?
no, I lost a split decision.
Of
Oh,
all
worst
fucking
split
things.
decision. Yeah.
Oh,
What a shitty way to end things.
I know. It was like, damn,
Jesus.
all that. Oh well.
But I mean, shout out to you though, because I mean, I think most people would probably consign themselves just to like missing weight, and be like, "Oh, I guess I get out of it," but like, not you.
No,
You
not on the table.
You literally
No.
shit the bed.
I literally shit the bed. I was like, this
Mr.
is-
Colonoscopy makes sense.
There we go.
now.
Okay, that does make sense. Hey, there's a legitimately good origin
Yeah.
behind it
There's
too.
a good origin to it.
Does Kyle know that? Is that why he gave you that nickname, or is that no?
No, oddly enough, no. No, Kyle was just being Kyle. He's like, oh, colonoscopy, I'll tear you a new one.
Yeah.
Good one, right? And I was like, sure.
If only you
Yeah.
knew.
If only you knew.
Well, I do kind of want to get, obviously you're a lifelong martial artist. I'd love to kind of like start at the beginning. Like, tell us kind of how'd you get into, I guess MMA is one thing, but how'd you get into martial arts in general? And like, obviously that's kind of developed your life,
Yeah.
Like, so let's kind of start at the beginning.
Yeah, so it was super tough because I'm from an incredibly small town, right? Pocahontas, Illinois. I mean, come on.
Mm.
Yeah.
It's like 650 people,
Damn.
right? So clearly there's no gyms in the area at all. So high school, there was nothing except like a YMCA karate
Mm.
I went to for 2 years. And dude, even with me having no experience, I was like, I don't think this is gonna work.
I don't think this is it.
My mom took me to that when I
Yeah.
was like 6, and
Yeah.
we kind of like ripped it a new one.
Yeah.
And I
This
was
doesn't look like the UFC.
No, it was
this
my-
isn't what the Power Rangers are doing.
This isn't. This looks way cooler. God, I've watched a lot of Dragon Ball Z. I don't see this. It's
Yeah.
not.
Yeah, where's Master
So-
Roshi? Teach me the Kamehameha wave. Come on, bro.
Yeah. So it was like, years of doing that. But I did like the karate tournaments when I was like,
Oh, you did?
hell yeah.
So how old were you when you
Hell
started
yeah.
that?
Dude, I was a junior in high school.
Okay.
Oh wow.
Damn.
Yeah.
So you started like later in life. I
Yeah,
feel like a lot of
later.
people do like I did karate and like taekwondo and shit
Mhm.
like as like a little
6,
kid.
7, 8-year-old.
I have
Yeah.
no shame.
Yeah.
Yeah. No shame. I was like, whatever. They had an adult class. It was fine, but it was just so funny because it was like, yeah, the tournaments were just, they had point fighting,
Okay.
but then they also had,
Contact.
well, it was like, gotcha, that
Yeah.
sort
It's
of
like
thing.
tag.
Exactly. But then they also had a ground fighting portion.
A karate.
Yeah, for the tournament. Well, the karate was Kempo Jiu-Jitsu. So it's
Oh.
basically Kempo karate, shitty judo, shitty jiu-jitsu.
Okay.
Basically what it was.
Okay.
And when I mean shitty jiu-jitsu, I remember the instructor showing a triangle. And this was with me with just seeing it in UFC being like, it's not right.
Yeah.
It's not right. His
Yeah.
arm's not across. Like, that's not going to work. Anyways,
Right.
so I would win. I won all the tournaments just by being more athletic, just whatever. But I kind of, you're younger. You can sometimes get a big head, especially at that age. So I remember when I went to college, I started going to Andrew Saban's gym
Okay.
with Dan Essenprice because he went to Carbondale as well.
Oh, I didn't know that. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. Me and Dan have been
Okay. You guys go way
friends.
back.
way back. We went to high school together. We went to college together.
Dan's got a mean guillotine, man.
The best guillotine. That's why I like to say I cannot be guillotined now.
Yeah.
Probably the same reason why you can't be Darst.
Right.
Nick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nick's,
good luck.
Nick starts me a million times.
Yeah. It's good.
Yeah, well, there you go. We got the ears to prove it. you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah. But no, yeah, I remember going there and just doing like the trial class.
Yeah.
And dude, like this 115-pound like 4-stripe white belt. Like Ezekiel'd me like 5 times in like a 3-minute round. And I was like, oh shit.
Yeah, I don't know
have
shit.
to do
Yeah.
this. Yeah. Yeah. So then that's just how I got into jiu-jitsu. And then luckily Andy is amazing. So he also does Muay Thai and like JKD. So it was like I would go there and do 3 hours every day.
Now, how far is Carbondale from Pocahontas? Were you like driving?
I was going to college at this time.
Oh, okay, so you're in college.
Yeah, I was in college. Yeah.
Got it.
Yeah,
Okay,
that's a hike from
Yeah,
Pocahontas.
it was like 2 hours. That's
Yeah.
crazy.
I was like, are you doing that every day?
Just go to St.
Shit.
Louis. Yeah, when you go to Carbondale, that's crazy. Yeah.
Okay, so you went to college in Carbondale,
Mhm.
and that's so you started training at Andy's gym, and then eventually like you obviously got into MMA and all that. Like, so
Yeah.
tell us like how did you transition, or like how did that kind of come about?
Yeah, so the transition was all just from I've always been in competition my entire life. So I wasn't even doing MMA. I was just doing Muay Thai, Jiu-Jitsu,
Just
like JKD.
training. Yeah.
And then I was only doing Jiu-Jitsu tournaments at the time, like a bunch of white belt and blue belt. I was just doing tons of tournaments. But then I was like, damn, I really want to like use some Muay Thai too.
Yeah.
And I was like, I'm going to try MMA. So I did it just at first because one, I wanted to make sure I could actually defend myself, because that's the whole reason. Was I've always been, I guess in like high school, you could say, even before that, I was really scared of like confrontation or like conflict. I just would get super anxious and scared. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So I just kind of wanted to test myself and make sure like what I'm doing actually works. So like, I don't want to be doing all this and then something happens and then I get my ass kicked. I'm like, oh, this was for nothing. So took the MMA fight. And I just completely steamrolled the guy.
Really?
Like right away. Yeah.
How'd
Just
you win?
rear naked choke.
Sick.
Yeah. I just kept basically going leg kick, and then I would just get double underhooks, take him down, ground and pound. Did that for a whole round. And the next round he just gave me his back and I choked him. I was like, damn, this works. That's crazy. And I was like, I'm gonna keep doing it. That's pretty good.
And how long ago was this, or how old were you?
Oh, this was,
You're in college still?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, I think I just graduated. I think I was 21.
Okay.
Yeah. So this would have been 2014.
Damn.
So
Yeah.
for those who are not as familiar in the martial arts world, JKD is Jeet Kune Do, correct?
Jeet Kune Do.
Which is Bruce Lee's art.
That's correct.
All right. So I think for a lot of people, especially in contemporary times, they look at things like Muay Thai, Jiu-Jitsu, maybe a little bit of judo, Western boxing, kickboxing, and they're like, okay, this is all you need. But,
Yeah.
5-finger death punch from the Grandmaster. Could you talk a little bit like what the JKD experience was like for you?
Dude, JKD was so much fun.
Was it?
Yeah, it was so much fun. There's all like different levels and different kind of things you think about with like hand trapping, utilizing the tie clinch. They got takedowns, hoop up drills, a lot of really good stuff. Now, is that stuff I really used in my fights?
No.
No. But it doesn't have to be. It's super fun. And it's just good reflexes too, good hand speed drills, right? I don't know. Yeah. So I loved it. I would love to do it again too if it was around here, just because all the like the drills you can do, the repeating drills, it's just so fun. And like for the time too, because you got to remember JKD was way back before it.
Right, before MMA.
Of
Yeah,
course.
but it was like kind of like, I know Rogan's talked about it as like the first MMA, because it was like the first, because when before the UFC, everybody like, it was very frowned upon to train other, if you were a taekwondo guy, you only train taekwondo. The karate guys only train karate. They never like,
no, it's like cheating on your wife.
Right.
It's
Yeah.
like, no way.
No, my martial art is the king,
best.
and until the UFC came around in 93, and then they're like, oh, okay. Because that's originally how the UFC started. It was like a wrestler versus a boxer, and this guy,
which
the
is the
jiu-jitsu
best
guy.
martial art.
Exactly. And then now it's evolved into mixed martial arts, but like Jeet Kune Do with Bruce Lee was kind of the first one to like really like mix them all together. I mean, they kind of say that was like the first version of MMA.
It was. Yeah, it was. Now, does that mean it's as good as MMA?
No, fuck no. We obviously know
The
it's
right
like,
idea,
it's a
though.
good mixture of,
Yes.
wrestling, jiu-jitsu, kickboxing, boxing. Like you kind of need a little bit. You need, especially at the highest level, you need to have a good base in everything.
If a wrestler was to be met with a Jeet Kune Do guy on the street, my money would probably be on the wrestler, yes?
Wrestler
all day.
Wrestler for sure.
Yeah.
Everybody have a good base of wrestling no matter what you do.
Well, yeah, I mean, because you can dictate where the fight goes.
Yeah.
If you want it to be on the
for
feet,
sure.
you're on the feet. But if you want to
Have
take
fun
that guy
hand trapping me with your back against the ground dog.
down, right?
Now, the only issue with that would be a really good Muay Thai guy who learned how to sprawl.
Right. Yeah.
That's
So you.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, man. I'm just saying that
Well,
tie
you look
clinch,
at, like-
the elbows, and knees, distance. Because I've done a lot of like different, like, I've helped really good wrestlers get ready for a fight, or like they want to fight, so they start doing MMA. It can be eye opening for sure, because you can be really, really good at wrestling and really good at grappling when you're engaging and you're not worrying about uppercuts or people hitting quarter turns or
dropping
tie
it, throwing it at
clinch
the
or
middle.
head kicks, because that changes everything. I've seen a lot of really good wrestlers turn into bad wrestlers once they start getting hit. So
yeah, I mean, that's something as someone who's not really ever trained anything but grappling. I mean, I trained Muay Thai at Watson's for a brief, probably about a year, and then I hurt one of my hands, and I was like, I'm just gonna just do jiu-jitsu. I'd rather just get really good at one thing instead of like I've only got so many hours to be in this gym a week.
I'm just gonna say that you only have so much time,
right? It's like I'd rather just get good at jiu-jitsu, but like I just knowing that it's way harder to put all that stuff together. Especially like defending a takedown when you're worried about someone kicking your legs or punching you in the face.
Yeah.
It's a completely different thing.
It's so much fun.
Well, I was gonna say, what the difference between Muay Thai and like kickboxing?
Knees and elbows and clenches.
Knees, elbows, clinch.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Attitude.
Like the big thing. What'd you say?
Attitude.
Mm.
I mean,
yeah.
I have to say though, because like I definitely agree with Zach's point. Like if you only have so many hours that you can put towards it, you should do it at the thing you're going to be best at. And I mean, I love doing jujitsu, but if it weren't for instructors like you and Jason and Jimmy, I probably wouldn't do Muay Thai even the small amount that I do. And I do gotta say, like, there is a little bit of like that attitude of like, okay, knowing like how to effectively use your shins, use your elbows, get someone in the clinch. Like there's that purple belt who like is great at judo at Watson's, and I was in a Muay Thai class and we were in the clinch and he hit me with an uchimata. I'm like, there's a lot of ways to tie this shit together. And I just gotta say, dude, like taking your classes specifically, like you have really great instruction, and I appreciate it.
Man, I appreciate it. I literally have just basically, kind of stolen Kyle's style of teaching and applied that to jiu-jitsu, or I'm sorry, to Muay Thai, where I go through like series.
Dad jokes.
Dude, it makes, dude, the way Kyle teaches, and I've talked about it on here multiple times, but just the way he teaches everything in a system, it was so different from anywhere else I had trained. I trained one other place before and had two different coaches there, and then came to Kyle's in 2020, and it's just completely different, and it really opened my eyes to like, oh, this is way better. This is a way better way to do this.
He's a man.
He's a wizard.
He is. He literally has like called me into his office before to like show me when he's got planned. Pull up his like Excel sheet, and it's like the Wizard of Oz when they take the curtain, and move it. And I'm like, oh my god, you have the entire year planned. Like, what do you?
Dude, it's awesome because like, I mean, he just really, I mean, he, like right now, I love the end goal method that we're doing. Like all this mount stuff we're doing. It's fucking awesome.
So good,
dude. It's so good. Just control like the wrist control. All that stuff. It's been like I've just been loving to getting to mount like whenever I'm sparring, just to like work on it and just try to get better at it, because it's, I mean, it all rolls into the last series where we worked on getting to the back, and it's just like everything just meshes together so good, and he's so good at doing that.
It rewards consistency.
Oh, for sure. And I mean, just the level of training partners there. I mean, man, we've got it really good.
We have it really good. I was just talking to actually Blake before I came up here at Open Mat, and I was like, dude, we got like not just the black belts, but think about like all of our brown belts too, with like Uzo.
Bro, in the next 2 years, we're gonna have how many how many brown belts do we have now that are gonna be black belts in the next 2 years?
It's like 7.
Yeah, I mean, we're gonna have double-digit black belts. I mean, in classes.
Yeah,
actually,
normally,
like just like.
Yeah, it's. I'm so excited.
Well, even when I first started, I mean, and I haven't been doing it that long, but like, I mean, here in the Midwest, it was, you didn't really see that many black belts, like, I mean, there was 2 at Finney's where I started, no, just one. It was
Lucas.
Ezra, and then, Chad was a, brown belt, and he eventually got his black belt, but yeah, I mean, that was it. And then, coming to Kyle's, he was, it was Mike and, who else? And Josh. Josh wasn't really around like training in classes, but now it's like we go there and it's normal to see a black belt as a student, which is like super like foreign concept to me when I first started, because it was like, no, black belt's the instructor, because there's only going to be like one of them.
Yeah.
Not to mention the show out for like tag team at like competitions too. Like,
fuck yeah, dude.
I remember tag team day and like just all the different schools over there, and some of the people we've got to know even through the show, like Adam, for example, and Josh's dad. But it was just like seeing how big this movement is, and like you and I were talking a little bit, Colin, before like the show began. It's really important to me at this point in life to see like St. Louis martial arts do well, and just I think you're a great example of that, man. Personally,
thanks, I appreciate it.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah, I just love it. It's like the one thing. Sounds really bad. I don't want to say that, but I definitely, in terms of a profession, it's the only thing I care about. Like there's literally nothing else. Like I've only ever had like remedial jobs, and like it was just it was just kind of bullshit.
Well, yeah, that's definitely a good transition because, like, you made a kind of a big decision. How long? Probably about a year ago now that you
Yeah,
kind of left
a little over.
Yeah,
I think it's been a year and like 4 or 5 months.
Right, and you
Still
basically
new.
made this big transition from working, I don't want to say corporate, maybe corporate job is the right word, but
Oh, dude. I mean, it was I worked at an office as like I don't even know what my position was. Like an assistant, I guess.
Yeah.
That was so bad. That was so bad. I just like sat on Reddit, and then the boss would come around and like pull up the Excel sheet and be like, "It's crazy, right?" It's crazy. It was like a DME company, so they sold like medical equipment, and there was like a store attached to it that sold like orthotics, and that sort of thing. And like they were like, "Oh, we want you to be an orthotic fitter." So I had to take this like literally, you just fit old people and people that are hurt with braces. So they're like, you need to take this like exam to do it. And I did this exam. It took like a week long. And then I got to the end of it, and they were like, "Oh, you have to do 1,000 hours of fittings before we give you your certification." And the owner was like, "Just don't." I was like, "Okay." So I was sitting there, and like, it wasn't good. Like old ladies would come in, they want to get fit for like races, and I was like, "I'm not your guy. This is awful." It was not. Yeah, it wasn't a good experience. I was like super agitated most of the time. I remember I would come into the gym and just be in a bad mood. Yeah. So
yeah, but you made that switch. You left that, and basically now you're just a full-time coach. And you coach at how many different gyms now? And you've got a big, crazy, busy schedule. You're telling us just about the shit you've already done today.
Yeah, yeah. I love it though, because I mean, it doesn't even feel like work to me, because you got to remember when I was working full time, what would I do? I would work 8 hours, and then I would go to Kyle's until like 9 p.m. and then I'd be up and just do that.
Because you're working nights, right?
Yeah. Well, the office job I was working just a normal like 9 to 5, but yeah, 7 years before that I was working night shift, 11 p.m. to 7 a.m. Yeah, so I would sleep all day, get up, go to the gym, shower at the gym, go to the job, rinse and repeat, Groundhog Day every day.
Oh. Yeah. I remember you like, you were like, you just woke up, and we were all getting to training at 5. It's like, this is your breakfast.
I'm just getting your breakfast sleep out of my eyes. I'm like, it was very rough and it was not great for performance. That's for sure.
Right. Well, and I'm sure you've gotten so much better from coaching, just because I know like I was when I would give pitching lessons and stuff in the off season, how much better I got just like, teaching kids something like, why I need to be doing that.
Yeah. It just reinforces the material in your mind just through like mental reps. I've definitely noticed an increase like in my jiu-jitsu just from coaching as much as I do. Yeah, for the series. For sure. So it's great.
Oh, dude, I coached the class upstairs for a couple of years for Kyle, and I mean, just even the basics class, the fundamentals, like it's just like there's all these things that I just do now without even thinking about it. That I've taught the class 10 times. I know exactly. All right, I just have these things just kind of baked in. Mm-hmm. All right, in a half guard, I'm going for this, and then to escape the mount, I'm doing that. All these things. It's just kind of ironed in there.
Yeah,
you
it's
don't
like
even have to think about it.
Yeah,
you don't have to think about it. You just do it. Just like tying your shoes.
Yeah. No, it's been amazing.
Yeah. So
now, out of all the mixed martial arts that you do, is jiu-jitsu your favorite, or?
I would say now that I'm getting older, I'm definitely leaning more towards that, because all the sparring for like Muay Thai and like even when I was doing like boxing, all that, it's tons of fun. But there is something to be said about that cumulative damage you take over time. And the reason I don't, not just because I'm scared anymore, but I have noticed that like, and my partner's noticed as well, it's like my memory is bad. Like I have to write everything down. Like I forget things. And part of me is I wonder, I'm like, has that always been like that? Or is this something that's been kind of progressing through just all the years of fighting and taking that damage like over time, where now I'm starting to notice it. So that's kind of scared me away from like
sparring.
Yeah, that's not worth it.
It's a good point to bring up though, but like, you don't hear about it much with MMA like you do with football, but CTE
or boxing.
Yeah. I mean, it's just like, I've got to imagine that there's some of that and mixed martial arts.
There is. It's a silly, you hear people say that where it's like, talking about, it's like, oh, but with the small gloves, you don't take as much. It's like, yeah, but when you're training with the big gloves on.
Right. Well,
don't want to be talking about that one day.
Right.
One
Like,
day
that's
that
silly. No, it's cumulative over time stuff. Yeah.
What's the
and how much you're training? I mean, you're training every day.
Yeah. And I was sparring a lot. I was sparring 3 to 4 days a week.
Yeah. Jeez.
Yeah. Because I was like, man, I know the technique. I have to get my timing down.
Well, and it's so fun. And like you said, it's so fun.
It's fun too. So it's like, it's rewarding. You get better. It's fun.
Build confidence.
Yeah. So I was like, let me just get this in. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think there's I know that a number of boxers die per year, due to head injuries and stuff like that. And you don't really see that as much as in MMA, but I think that's because of, with boxing, like you'll get knocked down and then you got 10 seconds to get back up, whereas
it's the worst thing possible.
For sure. And it's like, you just took a big concussion and now you got to stand back up and keep fighting. Whereas in MMA, you get knocked down, if that fight's not getting called there, the dude's following up with a couple hammer fists and then it's over. It's just like, you're not resetting and basically starting the fight from the feet again. It's over right then and there, instead of going another 4 rounds and then, getting knocked down again and again, and it just keeps happening. So, I mean, it makes sense.
Well, that and with the rise of jiu-jitsu and how that's becoming bigger and bigger and bigger, I mean, you're not taking too much head damage. You're rolling on the ground like you are standing up, taking punches and kicks.
Well, yeah, that's the beauty of grappling. It's like we can go and spar every single day, and I spar every time I train.
Yeah,
and it's I mean, if you're getting hit in the head, it's an accident. I've definitely eaten some knees and some elbows and some.
My doc kicked me in the eye one day.
Yeah, I mean, it just happens. It's just part of it. No, it's never intentional. It's just part of the thing. But like, it's not intentional. Like, whereas if we're kickboxing sparring, I'm trying to punch you in the face. You're trying to punch me in the face. Like I'm trying to hit you. Whereas in jiu-jitsu, it's like we can
accidental.
Yeah, we can spar every day, and I mean, generally not get hurt. I mean, don't get me wrong. There's injuries happen, and that's just part of this. I mean, but I always say injuries happen in every sport. I can name 3 of my friends that tore their ACL playing co-ed college co-ed basketball in college. It's like. People can get hurt doing fucking.
I know people in first form who just doing team workouts have had to get like ACL, meniscus, MCL, like all kinds of surgeries, and I'm just like, dude, I'm almost like grateful I didn't play sports growing up sometimes because I didn't have to deal with any of that shit. I've never broken a bone. I've never had to get like a tooth fixed or repaired or anything, and I'm glad I do jujitsu. Yeah. I do need to use a fucking mouth guard though.
Yeah, mouth guards.
Probably get one of those.
You don't wear one, do you? No. Did you wear one when you fought?
Oh, you have to
MMA.
You
have to wear one there. Yeah.
I never even wore a cup whenever I was sparring.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I was like, roll the dice.
You're gonna be on your Chama stuff. Herb's gonna come up.
Nope. Roll the dice.
You're lucky you still have your dice.
I'll be okay. A couple times that came up snake eyes.
I never wore a cup when I played baseball.
I want to protect my nuts.
I mean, I don't wear a cup when I train jiu-jitsu or anything, but there's a lot of guys that do.
Yeah, I'm not giving advice.
No.
I'm just saying I don't wear a mouth guard. I don't wear a cup.
Just get out there.
Level. Just you and God have a really
as you're looking at like my chipped tooth.
Yeah. Well, speaking of injuries, have you had some crazy injuries in your career?
Honestly, dude, I've been pretty lucky. I've never had surgery, which is awesome. Now, clearly, if you've seen my hands, they're like the guy from Scary Movie 2.
Yeah, he has a strong hand.
Yeah, it's literally that. I've just torn tendons and broken fingers.
And you got the nutsack on your elbow, right?
That's still, that's still annoying. I've been having to deal with that. I'm still rolling, which I probably shouldn't be. I've just been calling it beta jiu-jitsu, where I'm just literally sitting on my butt and like I'm not framing or pushing.
Jiu-jitsu light.
Yeah, it's jiu-jitsu light. And then I'm just trying to go with people, and then it's fine when I'm going against like, I guess you would say lower level people. And then when I go with people who are like good, I'm just getting smashed. And I'm like, well, I kind of knew that was coming if I can't use my right arm, but
yeah. Well, yeah, it's like you got to switch your whole game up too if you wanted to like play half guard on the other side and stuff, which that's stuff I've done with injuries and it just never works out so good.
No, I'm just trying to use this as like a time to be like, okay, let me work guard retention and bottom and stuff I don't really ever do. So,
dude, I know I made that decision. I've been working on it really since September last year when I had that you just competed on that the St. Louis Invitational. Mm-hmm. I competed on the one before that, and I just felt like I was not the whole match was just me and him basically trying to take each other down, and nothing happened. It was just like a takedown, us just basically locking up in collar ties and breaking apart. And And I was like, man, if I would have just like had some more confidence, maybe I would have pulled guard and just been more confident on my back. And so I was like, well, this is definitely, I saw it like as a weak point in my game. So I was like, all right, the next several months, I'm just going to work on going, working on bottom, you know, like working out, working on my half guard, working on sweeping and just working on my guard game. That's definitely where I suck the most, where I definitely feel the least confident. So, and that's something I've been working on over the last 6 months or so. And I've definitely seen some improvements for sure, but it's always a work in progress.
No, it is. And that's good too, because it's also trying to implement that around your game, right? So if you're working bottom, maybe you don't have to just start hunting triangles and arm bars and all these submissions. Maybe you can prioritize clearly sweeps, right?
Mm-hmm.
But also getting up.
Yeah.
Working back up to your feet.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Little stuff like that, I feel like sometimes gets kind of lost in the sauce because people are like, no, we're doing jujitsu. And it's like, well, you can still stand up.
Yeah.
That's still jujitsu.
You learn a butterfly guard.
Yeah.
Well, I mean,
just
you can't
extend them away.
Yeah, just push him away and stand up. Because I mean, if he can't keep you down, I mean, like I think we've been working on that. Like where just you have to keep the guy. The guy can. Trevor was doing that the other day. It's like, all right, bottom guy, you win if you can get up. Because it's a whole different thing if the top guy has to keep you down.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
Versus the guy on bottom just being okay with playing bottom.
Yeah.
Completely different game. It's way harder. It's like more like wrestling.
Yeah.
You know?
I mean, yeah, it is. So it's just it's good to get used to that. It's also too just do you have a separate kind of focus or game plan whenever you're going in for like open mats and training?
Mm-hmm.
You do? Okay.
Yes, I try to. It's like, okay, today, like, I mean, lately we've been working this mount stuff, and I really like the head and arm choke. So I'm like, all right, if I can get the head and arm as many times as I can today, anytime I'm on top, I'm going to try to get to mount and hit a head and arm. Like I do shit like that. Or it's all right. I went through a period where I was like, all right, I'm only working Kimuras. Shit that you can kind of get from everywhere. It's like, all right, if I get on top, I'm going for the Kimura, or I'm going for this, or if I'm passing, I'm specifically working this pass, or it's like I'm always trying to find something that I'm trying to get better at, and
it's good. It's important
for sure.
Just curious.
No, it's I definitely think I think stuff like Josh's podcast. I've heard him talk a lot about stuff like that. That's helped me, kind of reiterate that into my own game.
Yeah, for sure. Like following that, and then just like overall concepts, right?
Mm-hmm.
You always hear him talk about like chest over
chest,
like that sort of thing. That's really helpful too.
If someone was thinking about, or if someone maybe had just like started jiu-jitsu, what do you personally think like the foundational like what was the word you just said? I can't think. Concepts. What do you think the foundational concepts they should know going in are, or should be aware of? Because I know for me, when I first started, we had a great instructor at first. Marcel is an amazing instructor, but like when I think of the instruction that like you and Kyle and even Junior at some points has given me, like it just speaks my language because it was like conceptual in a lot of different ways. What do you think those biggest concepts are someone should keep in mind for this first, I don't know.
So I don't know. I mean, I kind of struggle with, I think concepts work really well once you already have an abundance of like techniques kind of in your arsenal. I would say with newer people, I don't know if I would have you really focus too much on concepts. You can be aware of them.
Yeah.
That sort of thing. But I think the main thing is just consistency going over the class material. Whenever we're going over in class, that's what you're focused on.
Yeah.
That's what you're trying to do.
Yeah.
Just trust the process, trust the coaching. And then once you start to get like better and better and like get to like purple belt level, right? That's when I think you should start venturing into those concepts because you already kind of have a wealth of knowledge.
Yeah.
That's where I'm at. I mean, I feel like I'm drinking out of a fire hose right now. And every time I go, I'm just trying to.
Oh, I get it. Oh, remember the meme I posted on my story the other day? There's a picture of Joe Biden from the debate. Yeah. It's like whenever my BJJ coach starts giving us instructions on the move, we're drilling.
Yeah. I'm just,
I mean, but like Justin Bricker, for example, he gave me 2 little concepts I still use to this day. He goes, you take anything from this, it's this. Number 1, learn your frames. It's like, if they can get chest to chest, your back's against the ground, not good. Also, number 2, especially if you're playing guard, don't let them touch your face. If they can touch your face, they're too close. Those are just 2 little things that have just stuck with me.
Good.
It's good. Yeah, I would say if you're on top trying to pass, north of knees. There you go. North of knees.
North of knees.
Whether you're using your hands, whether you're going to the side, whenever you're doing, try and be north of their knees. That's how you hit your pass.
Yeah.
Anytime you're not, that's where they're going to get frames, butterfly hooks, that sort of thing.
Yeah, no, that's great. Now, another piece of advice I would say for that I see a lot of new people struggle with is being on your toes versus being on your knees. Because if you're on your knees, your weight's not on them.
Yeah.
You need to be on your toes, so that all your weight is on that person on the bottom.
Kyle really highlights that a lot.
Yeah. Yeah, because you see a lot of people that like they try to pass, like walking on their knees. And it's like, dude, you have no weight on this person.
Yeah, it's like hike up.
Right. Yeah.
Pressure.
For sure.
That pressure's so key. Yeah. But so let's get into your kind of. So how many MMA fights did you have? How far? Like what? How did that look?
Well, let me do it. 17
17 fights.
17 MMA fights, and then
you had a couple. You went pro, right?
Yeah. I had 6 pro fights and 11 AMI fights, and then kickboxing. I had 4 kickboxing fights.
Okay.
Yeah.
Over the course of how many years is that?
2014 to 2022.
Yeah, I think I remember. I was at your last fight.
I think it was 2022. Yeah.
Oh, and you're
8
not.
years.
You're done fighting now.
Yeah.
Past it, over it.
Dude, so over it. I've gotten a lot of offers where I just leave that shit on red. I'm like, no. Once, and that was something I was worried about. Was like being done and then being like,
Yeah. Well, there's so many fight. I feel like that's so common with fighters because they kind of put all their their identity into it. It's like, man, I'm a fighter. This is what I do.
Yeah, I mean, we talked about that with Adam.
Yeah.
I never did that. My identity was
Good for
never
you.
with fighting. Yeah, I always was just like, no, this is fun. I like doing this. I can test myself. I want to see how far I can get. I love it. But it was never like, I don't know. It was just never who I am. So I think that kind of made it easier because once I was done, I was like, oh, I'm fine.
Was the weight cuts a big piece of that decision making?
Yeah. The weight cuts. And then too, man, you just hit this level too where it's like the competition, right? Because starting off amateur, like I just kind of steamrolled everybody.
Yeah.
And then I went pro and I started like just steamrolling everybody pro as well, like when I was starting. But then I got to like that level of like LFA, right?
Yeah, dude.
Bro,
Yeah,
that was a problem.
Yeah. Ooh, Tom, did you only have that one fight in LFA?
Yeah.
We were all there. That was
that guy
LFA?
was so good.
Legacy Fighting Alliance?
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's like I would say that's a lot of guys get pulled from there to go to the UFC.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like it's kind of like
like the G League.
Yeah, the minor league. Yeah. And it was that was a tough one to see. For sure.
Yeah, it was a tough one to be in. Because it was also one of those where it wasn't like, oh man, if only. I was like, oh no, this guy is just quicker. He's got better reaction timing. He's stronger. He's faster.
Drago.
Yeah, well, dude, because I remember like throwing some jabs in the fight and he was just like, like right away I was like, oh shit.
This guy actually knows some defense.
I was like, this is, And then like he threw one like right hand. I blocked it and it turned my entire body and made me like step. And I was like, oof, this is less than ideal. All right. Yeah.
That was we didn't like.
Yeah. So that was, but honestly, dude, it's probably for the better.
I think, especially with the advent of the UFC and streaming culture, there are a lot of young men, especially who, even someone like me, who you've never had any inclination of sports, they have the idea that like, hey, if I just work hard enough, I can become a professional combat sports athlete. Maybe words of advice, whether they're affirmative or deterrence, what would you tell that man honestly and objectively? He's just like, I can do this.
So that depends entirely from person to person, right? Some people just don't have it.
Yeah.
Just flat out. You can train as much as you want. You can train as hard as you want. If you don't have it, you don't have it. You can do it as a hobby. You can do it for fun. You can, compete maybe like amateur, but this cannot be your focus. Your main focus needs to be something else in life, something with more growth, something you can get more out of later on, right? If the person though has that it factor and they're really good, it's like, man, you need to make sure one, you have that, but do you have everything else? So you have the discipline? Do you have the right environment? Are you doing everything in your control to be as good as you can be? And that's going to be also giving things up. If you're not willing to do those things and you have the it factor, go do something else. That's not for you. Only when all 4 of those things align should you go for it.
Before Conor McGregor was Conor McGregor, he was like, him and his wife were living in a shed back in Ireland, and he wasn't a superstar or a phenom or the guy who was the champ. It was like he was destitute. Yeah.
But that's the thing. It's like, for every one Conor McGregor who made it, there's thousands of people who are still living in that shack working at Lowe's.
Right.
Like, let's pump the brakes. I get it. He's great. These stories are awesome to do, but you also need to realize they're famous because they're an outlier.
Yeah.
So I'm just very iffy about like, I don't know, telling certain people like, yeah, man, go
You
for
can do
it.
it,
You
yeah.
can do it. Cause it's like, you might not be able to.
Well, and especially
And then-
something where you're really putting your health at risk,
Right.
man,
Yeah.
and your like future brain like
Yeah.
function and all these things. Like, I mean, you're putting your body at risk every time you step in that cage. You know, that guy wants to fucking hurt you.
Yeah.
You know, like
Yeah. And you might be tough. You might be all these things. But again, if you're just missing one of those 4, like, yeah, I don't know. Probably do something else.
Yeah. Well, speaking of your fighting, is there any besides shitting yourself? Is there any other memorable?
Damn,
Moments.
Pat with the zinger.
No,
No.
shit. Yeah, that was the weirdest one. Let me think. Anything else?
Any other
Boy.
memorable moments?
yeah, do you have
from
like
your
a
fighting?
favorite fight,
Dude,
like a
oh.
cool highlight, like
I-
something you just remember? You're like, damn, that was one of the
This-
coolest things I did.
Scariest fight I ever had was not that guy
Oh,
for
okay.
LFA. The opposite. It was I was fighting a guy who was a last minute replacement, and he was terrible. Like 1 in 18 or something. Because I was like, oh no, if I lose this,
Yeah.
I gotta change my name and move out of the country. Like, this is a problem. Yeah. So that one,
This guy just catches a lucky shot.
just catches a
Yeah.
lucky shot.
Because that's the thing, dude,
Dude.
with MMA. Like, dude, just
Yeah.
takes
Yeah.
one fucking, you know, not
Yeah.
paying attention one time, he clips you on the chin, you're
Yeah.
out, you know, like, fuck.
Mike
He-
Tyson lost to Buster Douglas.
Yeah.
Most people don't even know who that is.
Yeah.
This dude had to weigh in with jeans on and quarters in his pocket to make weight. He was underweight.
Are you
Oh
kidding?
my God.
I'm not kidding, dude. I'm not kidding.
Wait.
At what weight? At what weight?
This was at 170.
Okay.
Yeah.
Damn. So wait, they do.
So
let him wear
probably
jeans?
55er maybe, or well,
Yeah, he was
fuck,
like-
dude.
yeah, he
If he has had to weigh in, I mean, a lot of 55ers I feel like are walking around like 70, 80, right?
Yeah.
170, 180.
Yeah.
So
I don't
he
know.
was probably little, huh?
He was little. And God, and Kyle made me even more nervous for that fight. He's like, hey man, just make sure you got your hands up, man. Just, crazy stuff can happen. I was like, stop.
That's not encouraging, Kyle.
Yeah, I was like,
freaking
I
me
know,
out,
I know.
man.
I feel like Kyle could do that. He could like try to fuck with you, like, hey, don't worry, but like if you lose, you're gonna totally be like shamed. I'm gonna talk about it every time you walk into the gym.
Well, shit, that guy's probably the guy that loves taking last minute fights and just
Yeah.
loves it. And that's
Yeah, he had
it
his,
worked out for him once.
yeah.
One,
One in
of the
18.
times it worked out. Luckily, that was not me. But yeah, I remember his
Loves
mom and
getting
dad
his
in his
ass
corner
kicked.
too.
Wait, what?
He had his mom and dad in his corner.
Oh,
Yeah.
boy.
Yeah, let's go.
There's
Let's go.
probably nothing worse than losing in front of your parents like that.
Or
Well, they're
you-
probably the ones picking these fights for him. You know?
Yeah.
They're trying to be his
What-
Don
what-
King.
what's that? What is it Fighter with Christian Bale, where he's the drug addict?
Yeah, Mickey and Dickie Ward.
Yeah,
Great movie.
Right, and the parents are the ones picking the fights that are not really the best fights.
His mom is like
Yeah.
a really terrible manager, and they're
Oh, yeah.
like the definition of like Massachusetts white trash. Like Lowell, Mass, very hard Boston accent. Oh, you don't run away from family, and like all their sisters are just
Oh, yeah.
nasty, fat white trash bitches.
Mm-hmm.
It's a fucking amazing movie.
That's
That's
a
a
great
great
movie. I
movie.
think it's on Netflix right now.
Good.
Uh-uh.
Great movie.
Dude. So that was your craziest like or one you just remember that one because you don't want to
I just remember that because I didn't want to lose. As far as that, man, a lot of them just kind of blend together. I mean, my first kickboxing fight was probably really cool because I just won by just leg kicking the guy.
Really?
Yeah, I got TKO by leg kicks just
That's
because
sick.
I threw 2 kicks and I was like, oh, he doesn't know how to check.
Oh, he don't like that.
Yeah, so just kept doing it the whole time. Yeah,
That's brutal.
but yeah, a lot of them just kind of blend together. So
I know personally, this was a question I asked a guest not long ago, but especially with jujitsu, I think one of the things I've heard a lot is like on the way to there, like purple belt is a real trying time, like a valley for a lot of people who practice. Has there ever been like a period on the way to like black belt or throughout your journey, whether you consider it a black belt ending or not, that like for you was like really tough and like taught you the most about your game?
yeah, I think you got it right on. I think you got it perfect. I think purple belt.
Why is that?
Because I think, like I was saying before, I think white belt and blue belt is very much like show up, consistency, do the course material, trust the process, focus on this. Not that that doesn't apply, but once you start to get to like a higher level, like high purple belt, brown belt, black belt, it's like, oh, now you have to start kind of thinking for yourself
Mhm.
and start focusing on your game and things you're good at. And I think some people can kind of miss that, which it makes sense because it's like, man, if you're, you know what I mean? You're working a full-time job, you got kids, you got going on. It's like, I got to spend more time thinking about this. Like, but that is kind of what you have to do.
Well, but like
Yeah.
you've said it multiple times that you just love this shit. And I
Yeah.
think, we all do too. That's why,
Yeah.
I mean, it's a hobby. I look at, you know, going to the gym is like my time to escape. I mean,
Yeah.
it's like really the one time a day where this thing, and whenever we're podcasting, I guess this thing isn't like running my life.
Yeah.
You know, so it's nice that I go there and kind of shut the rest of the world off, and then
Yeah,
you
it's
know
an
when I have
amazing
time
escape.
it's the best.
Well,
You know,
not just that, but like you're doing something fucking hard.
Yeah.
And if you can get through that and do that, like the rest of your fucking day is easy.
fuck yeah.
You know, it's like do hard things so you can be better at the other things in your life. I mean, like CrossFit and this. I mean, it's not so much I do CrossFit to get shape and get stronger. I do it because of the mental side of it. Same thing with jujitsu. It's
tough.
It's tough.
Yeah.
It's hard. I mean, it's not fun going in there Monday mornings and get my ass kicked by all you guys. But hey, you know, I'm
you're
learning.
showing up, man.
I'm learning, and I love it. And it is like I know that if I can go in there and I can get my ass kicked in the morning, that the rest of my day and anything else that I have come up is going to be a piece of cake to handle.
Yeah.
I remember it was Adam who like he was having his conversation with Connor. He was like, maybe I just need to like use more technique and stop being so explosive and athletic. And he's like, no.
No way.
But is it because like at that point, like Junior and Nick and I don't know, Adam doesn't teach there, does he?
Marburger? No.
No.
Sella?
Oh,
Sella.
Sella. No.
Oh,
Yeah, he said no.
So like for him, they're like, hey, you just need to focus on like really pinpointing what it is weak in your game. What was like one of your first weaknesses that you remember like you really had to bring up?
Honestly, it was something I didn't think was a weakness in my game until I started going to Kyle's, but it was the pressure passing.
Yeah.
I wasn't distributing my weight right. I wasn't leg pummeling. I wasn't cross facing effectively. Yeah.
Dude.
Because it's a game changer. Because, like I said, a lot with Andrew Sabins, it was amazing, like guard work and that sort of thing. So it's kind of like going to Kyle's, it was the opposite with smashing. And then is great as a gym as like I spent like a year and a half at Chicago Fight Team, right? Amazing MMA gym, good wrestling. The jiu-jitsu wasn't good.
Really?
Yeah, I was trying to think of a better way to put that. But yeah,
Yeah.
it wasn't good.
I mean, no, you got to be honest about your experience.
Yeah.
And I mean, I've trained at a few different gyms, but like the time at Kyle's, it's really shown like, dude, I've tapped just off pressure passes alone.
Yeah.
It's changing a lot of things about how I see the game.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, it's you know, and I think that kind of boils down to, you know, it sucks to train with people that are better than you, that beat you and beat you up a little bit. But boy, you really learn from that. Like we were talking about before the show, like rolling with Trevor, for instance. Like I roll with him all the time, and I feel his pressure. I feel the way he does things, and I'm like, it makes you want to like, all right, obviously, like whatever I'm doing, whenever I'm in that position, I don't think it feels like the way he does it. Yeah. So it's like, all right, I need to figure out. I need to figure out the way he's doing it and implement it into my game.
Yeah.
You know, and it's, I mean, I think that's so crucial is just rolling with, spending time under people that are better than you.
Yeah, no, for sure. Because it's going to help you analyze. Yeah.
Pressure makes diamonds.
Things you can, things you can change in your game. Yeah.
So you spent a year and a half in Chicago. How long ago was that?
I don't know. Like 2016, probably. 2017 or 18. Right before. Maybe 2015. Anyways, within that time frame.
Okay.
It was a year and a half. It was a very interesting time.
So what? I guess you literally just moved to Chicago to train. No, you had a job up there, or what?
Ex-girlfriend.
Okay.
Yes,
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
That did not go over well.
Okay.
Yeah. It was dude, it was wild because it was that same company where I'm like working at like the different high-rise apartments.
Okay.
Right. So I'm making like $14 an hour. I moved to Chicago, trying to live in Chicago
for $14 an hour.
$14 an hour. Dude, I got this studio apartment for $500 a month. And it was in the South Austin district, which is one of the worst areas in Chicago. So it was bad.
Really?
Oh, dude, it was my car got broken into multiple times. There were 3 or 4 shootings like right outside my the apartment I lived in. It was really bad, and I was working night shift, right? So I had to walk to my car like in the dark. Yeah, it was really bad. I was sleeping on a bed, and then I ended up getting bed bugs, which is like the worst thing ever, right? It was so I got rid of the bed, and now I'm sleeping on an air mattress in this shitty studio apartment with one TV. And then like there were like, it was bad. It was like you turn the lights on, you can see like the roaches like scatter.
Oh,
yeah.
bro.
Yeah. So I spent like 7 months there, and then I just broke my lease. and moved in with one of my buddies from college, and we got an also shitty apartment, but not as shitty, and like a bad area, but not as bad. Yeah. So it was like living there, and it was rough because it was just a really, really tough time because I was also like broke, right? Doing that, trying to pay for all the gym fees and everything else off making no money. Yeah. And I got like a side gig where I might have been working for someone doing something very illegal. I don't know. Because it was like one of the guys at the buildings I worked at. He was like, he would always come down and talk to me. He was super nice. And then one day he was like, hey man, you want to do like a side gig like on the weekends? And I was like, yeah, sure. Like, what's the pay? And he was just told me it wasn't much. It was like whatever, like $18 an hour. But he was like, all you got to do is you go to this factory and you're just going to hang out there and just kind of do like security all night. And I was like, okay. And I was like, yeah. He was like, just text me when you're there. I was like, okay. So I went there and the doors were locked. And I was like, hey man, the door's locked. He was like, oh yeah, I don't have keys yet. He was like, just stay in your car. I was like, all right. So I was just sitting in my car in this like apartment or this factory like parking lot like all night. And then eventually he got a key and I was like, okay. So I unlocked it and there's like bullet holes and graffiti all over the wall. And I was like, dude, oh my God. So I started just hanging out there because I was just going there at night. I was there for 12 hours, 6 p.m. to 6 a.m.
Holy shit.
Yeah. And I just started getting real comfortable and taking my laptop and watching movies, bringing snacks, doing all that. And then I got real ballsy. I started bringing my air mattress with me and all my stuff. And I started to like blow the air mattress up. And I would go in one of the office areas and just, dude, I would just take Benadryl and just pass out for 12 hours and then just get up. So
no one else is in this thing?
No, it was just me. But I was like, this is crazy. So one time I went in and I like already took the Benadryl because I was already ready to sleep. But I walked in, and this is during the winter, and there's no heating in here. So I literally have on like 6 layers of clothes, and I walk in, and now there's people there working in the factory, like on the floor. And I was like, God damn it, I already took my Benadryl. I'm tired. So I'm just sitting there.
Sweating.
Just sweating. And then after like 2 hours, everyone leaves. And I'm like, it's time. And I go to my car, I pop the trunk, I grab all my stuff, I go into the office, I blow up the air mattress. I have like 3 blankets on because it's cold as shit. And I turn the lights off and I'm sleeping, right? And then all of a sudden I just wake up and I just hear like people walking. And I was like, oh no. And I peek because there's like a window, right? Because it's like a little office area. So there's like a window. And I look and I can see like flashlights.
It's feds.
Dude, I didn't know what it was. I was just going to stay in that office space. And I heard one of them goes, yeah, I don't know. I know I saw him earlier. I don't know where he is. I think they're talking about me. I was like, dude, I'm just chilling in here. And I'm just like in the corner now. Like, and I see the light flashing. It starts coming in the window. And then it goes on my air mattress and it just stays there. And I'm like, oh, shit.
They found me.
They know. So I just like popped the door and I was like, hey, what's up, guys? And they thought I was a homeless guy who got in because they were like, hey, man, I'm really sorry. I know it's cold, but like, you can't stay here. And I just went with it. I was like, okay, yeah, my bad. And I went and I started grabbing like, I grabbed my shoes and next to the shoes were the keys to the building. And I grabbed it and they were like, you can come back in the morning and get your stuff. And I was like, all right, that's fine. And I'm walking. And as I'm leaving, I walk right past my car because I'm like, I don't want to get in my car.
Right.
Because then they're going to.
They think I'm homeless.
Yeah. So I just walk past my car and it's like 4 a.m. And I just go to the left and I go behind a dumpster. And I'm just like looking over the dumpster waiting for them. And then they finally leave. And I like run back in. I unlock it, grab all my stuff, and I just go home.
Is that the last time you were there?
It was the last time I was there. It was the last time I was there. I was like, nope. That
Chicago's
was too
never
scary.
been the same since.
Yeah. I was like, nope.
Oh man.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, Chicago was pretty wild, dude.
Pretty different up there.
Yeah. It was good though too, man. It was fun. It was
Well,
a
you
lot
trained
of good
with some big names up there, like Bilal and a couple other people, right?
Yeah, Bilal Muhammad, Lewis Taylor, who is freak of freaks. He was the PFL champ. He won that $1 million tournament.
Yep.
Yeah, he was really good. Horacio was also in the UFC. Marco Beltran, he was in the UFC. It was just a good roster of just really talented fighters.
But not a lot of jiu-jitsu, just more.
No, very, very heavy MMA based, wrestling based. And then The jiu-jitsu it was like a guy they brought in. And it was like 10 arm bars, 10 kimuras, 10 triangles. All right, we're rolling. And then like one time, and he would just like sit on his phone. So
Got it.
yeah, it was pretty lame. And then it was like sometimes when he didn't even want to do anything, he would like ask people like blue belts, like, what's your favorite technique? Okay, show that. Like
Really?
do that kind of thing for the class.
Oh boy.
Yeah, so the jiu-jitsu was not good at all. Yeah, I probably regressed while I was there. Yeah.
Well, what was I mean, because you didn't really like. When did you kind of get it? Because you've got a really good wrestling base now. Like, where did you develop that?
Probably Chicago Fight Team.
Really?
They had really good wrestling. Yeah. I mean, Lewis Taylor wrestled at Eastern University, and clearly you've seen Bilal fight.
Yes.
He's never been taken down.
Right.
Yeah, his wrestling's phenomenal. So wrestling rounds with him and Lou, and there's a guy there named Nasasio who doesn't fight, but he's like UFC level. He's really good.
Really?
Yeah, so I just got molly-whopped for a long time, and then just got pretty good at like defense and getting back up. Right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, shit, you're really good at now still.
Yeah,
So I
so
mean,
that kind of forced me into it. So yeah.
Well, you competed at the St. Louis Invitational the other a couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
Tell us about that.
Yeah, I'm honestly, dude, it was
Dude.
so much fun.
We had we were all standing right there.
Yeah.
We all thought you won, but
Yeah.
Yeah. I get it. I understand.
we talked to Adam when he was here.
Yeah.
I mean, okay, we get it. But
Yeah, there's just so I understand the
the
rule
rule
set.
set now we know. Like it's all
We
right.
know
You just got to start
My only
hunting and
issue with it is it's if I am in half guard, right? What are my actual submission attempts from there?
Mhm.
There's not a whole lot. And if I'm having trouble passing your guard, or if I'm in like where you had like the butterfly hook, what are my submission attempts?
right.
Right? You see what I'm
Right.
getting
Yeah,
at?
yeah.
So if I can take down and dictate on top and try and pass and do all that, but I don't have any attempts at submissions, but the person on bottom can kind of throw up omoplatas, triangles, like whatever, even if it's not close, then they won. So I don't know. I just feel like there could be a little bit room for improvement there where maybe you score both, right? Maybe you do score the submission attempts, but we should also be scoring the takedowns, the positioning, the pat, like all those should also factor in, because if not, then why don't I just pull guard and start just throwing up
Right.
submissions?
Yeah, just
Worked for that
going
one
for
kid.
leg locks and
Yeah.
stuff.
Worked for
Yeah.
that one kid, butt scooter.
Yeah. Well, we had Adam in here last week and we talked about that. He's like, that's one thing I need to improve on, is something that I need to kind of get get the rules more like
Yeah, kind of
finalized,
ironed out a little bit.
which I think is good. But dude, I love that's the third one. I've been to all three of them, and it's been gotten to compete on
So
one of them,
much
and
fun.
it's just so cool. And it's like, man, I just would love this to keep being a thing.
Yeah.
He's like, yeah, he wants to do it 2 times a year, so it's just like such a cool thing to get this jiu-jitsu community of in St. Louis just like all together. And I mean, because it's a small, tight knit crew. There's not a lot of guys in all of the St. Louis area that train.
Yeah.
If you look at it, it's probably a couple thousand. It's not a ton of people out there. It's not a huge community, but the people that are there, it's like pretty tight knit.
And St. Louis is a first name community in the first place.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
It's just cool. And I know we talked recently. You're gonna start doing more competition in jiu-jitsu now that you're done with MMA. So
Yeah.
that's sweet.
Got to get my fix somewhere.
Yeah.
When it is, I got to do something. Yeah. So I'll definitely be doing that.
St. Louis Open.
Yeah, the St. Louis Open. And then I don't know yet about that July 13th one.
Oh, yeah, that one's in like 2 weeks.
I
yeah.
know. That's why I'm like, I don't
Yeah.
know. My elbow is
That's not
so
even 2
bummed
weeks.
out. Like that's
Which one is that?
10 days.
So the
days.
St. Louis, the
time.
CXBJJ.
I
they're
got
doing-
So
time,
is that-
baby.
Is that
I
the
just
one-
need one day.
The tournament.
Yeah. Yeah, so
Yeah.
they're doing a
He's got the
tournament.
tournament and the professional bouts or whatever.
It's just the tournament.
It's
So
just a
just like
tournament,
a
yeah.
standard kind of tournament where you sign up and get a couple matches and get a medal.
Yeah.
Kind of thing. So
Yeah,
I'm-
once.
it's my me and my wife's anniversary, so I won't be there. If I did, I'd be in trouble.
Long
and then-
sigh.
Yeah. Well,
Cheating
I
on
mean, I
jiu-jitsu
probably
with
would.
your
I don't know
wife.
if I would have
Yeah.
competed in it right now, especially with all the other stuff we got going on with the
It's-
brand new baby and everything.
Yeah, it's fine.
But I'm
It's always
planning
gonna
on
be
doing
there.
the St. Louis Open as well. I'm planning on doing. I think everybody. I'm sure most people at the gym are probably gonna. I mean, a lot of people at the gym are gonna be doing it.
I think so. Yeah, it's getting pushed kind of hard.
Well, we won. I mean, we won the last one. We got to
Yeah.
defend the title.
Yeah,
So-
yeah, I get it. I bet we will. Tag team is a lot, so it's
Especially all the
Yeah.
guys at Revive. I feel like their gym's super competition heavy. So
yes. Revive is like very it's funny. It's very different. They always joke about that too, where it's like Revive is like the meathead gym.
No one likes us. We don't care.
Dr. Gym.
Yeah.
And then you got McKinney, who's just like the Granite City Pontoon Beach like area.
Yeah.
So funny.
Yeah, they're three pretty different demographics.
Yeah,
that's for sure.
yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Well,
I have one question before you sign off.
Yeah, what's up?
Like I said earlier, I think it was really at Watson's where I've kind of found a stride, so to speak, because it's the instruction. I think it's because instructors like you and Kyle are able to keep things so lighthearted. There's a lot of levity. There's a lot of, fun loving to it. And it is combat sports. In terms of like how you've been able to like keep your energy and your sense of self so positive, I think a lot of people like try to get like really gritty and really tough and take themselves a little too seriously. How have you been able to like maintain that like positive attitude about everything?
I think I clearly I love jujitsu. I love training. It is like my job, but it's not my life.
It's purpose.
It's its purpose. I don't know. I just think sometimes people can put too much into it and then they put too much pressure and then it's not fun anymore. Right? I don't know. I do it because I love it. It doesn't feel like work to me. I look forward to it. But at the same time, I make sure I don't make that my identity because that's not my identity. I'm not just a fighter. I'm not just a jujitsu guy. I don't know. I have a lot more, I think, than that. So I don't know. That's how I do it personally, because that way it's like I can still get really excited for my wins, but then it's like my losses as well. That's not going to be devastating to me to where it's like I want to quit and do all this. Like I still have a lot more in my life.
Oh, I appreciate it because being in yours and Kyle's classes especially has just done a lot for me in terms of not only making things click, but making things fun. And not to say like when I trained with Marcel, things weren't fun, but like if I have to get there at 7 a.m., I'm only training with like the same 5 guys. One of them's fucking Madat. One of them's fucking Damien, who's wrestled for 14 years. It was just like, it's a very competitive atmosphere, but it was like,
but it should be fun.
Oftentimes I would like walk away like beating myself up. And that's not a testament to them. It's a testament to me, but the right instruction, the right training partners, it matters.
Yeah. I think, leaving any situation where you're kind of beating yourself up mentally, unless you have a really good reason for doing that, I don't think that's healthy, because I think that's going to really stifle any sort of like longevity in your training. Because then it's like you start looking for reasons to not go because you're associating those training sessions with feeling poorly afterwards.
I did.
Right. So.
Yeah. Well, I've said this before where I look at this like, just like any other sport, man. Like I know I have a lot of buddies that golf and they golf all the time. It's like I know that there's days that they go out there and they're slicing it into the woods and they're having a bad day. The same shit happens in jiu-jitsu. Like there's you go in and man, I'm having a bad day. That guy, I normally can tune that guy up, but today he passed me up. He passed my guard, submitted me.
Fine.
It's okay.
It's okay. It's not that deep, bro.
Not the end of the world. I can come back tomorrow and get him back.
Yeah.
And it's like. It's just not, you have good days and bad days and everything, you know, it's just, there's some days where, you're the hammer and some days you're the nail.
Yeah. You can't get hung up
right
doing that and trying to compare yourself. Cause it's literally, you should only be focused on yourself and just having fun. Yeah. That's the two main things. Yeah.
Well, awesome. I think that's a good spot. And Pat,
got one last question. We do this with all of our guests. It's called the Tombstone Game. All right. So
okay.
Like you're gonna live. Don't
pizza?
Worry.
Okay. Here lies pizza. Colin. What's it say on your tombstone?
Don't shit yourself.
What's it say on my tombstone?
Yeah, how you'd be remembered.
How would you right at the end?
Yep.
Take a second think about it.
You get time.
What would it say on my tombstone? Live life to the fullest. Don't take it too seriously. Everyone dies. It's okay.
Perfect.
There we go.
There we go.
That's great.
It's not that deep.
Well, Colin, thanks a lot for coming on, man.
Hey, thanks,
we love you. You're a great training partner. Happy you came on. So, but thanks to everybody that watched the episode. Make sure you comment down below what you thought. Hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, and we will see you next time.